Welcome to the South, the dirty South, the bottom of the map, the cradle of arts and entertainment in these continental United States, the home of candy paint, swingers and syrup, peanut butter interior, and parking lot pimping. What up, everybody? This is the Genius Generation podcast / Playerz From the South. And today I had to sort of split my Genius Generation podcast and Playerz From the South in half. Because as you all know, I got my Genius Generation show, which is interview based, and I'm giving it up to Generation X, the hip hop generation, my own, my contemporaries. And then I got Playerz From the South, which is the first hip hop scripted podcast. I'm the writer and creator. And with that being said, we got a lot of stories in hip hop culture, hip hop history that's being told. And I wrote Playerz From the South because I wanted to tell a story of what it's like in the early 90s on the Gulf Coast, the bottom, the third coast, because, when a lot of people refer to hip hop and they talk about the South, and eventually, automatically, their mind automatically goes to Atlanta. But, I wanted to tell a story, a different story. It all comes together because there's a brotherhood in the South that everybody has with each other. But I wanted to tell the story and get it cracking of what it was like on the third coast, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, I got the OG, Big Mitch Queen with me today. What's up, Mitch?
What's going on, my brother?
Not much, bro. Crack-a-lacking right now, getting it going. It's about time I got back. Oh, thank you, bro.
Congratulations on your nomination for your Pride card, man. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. I've been trying to get it going for 2 years, bro, and it's good to be recognized for doing something.
Yes, sir, brother.
Yeah. I love the culture, man, and I love the conversation we can have about it. Everybody got their own stories to tell, and I could talk to a multi-platinum, 10 million, 20 million selling artist, but I find the cats more interesting who just got stories, organic stories to tell. You feel me?
Dig that.
Yeah, that's what's up. And before I get started, man, everybody know before I get started on each one of my shows, I like to pay homage to hip hop, and I tell stories about what went on around this date in history. So I got three examples today. I got May 23rd, 1983. The Disco 3 won first prize in the Tin Pan Apple Rap Contest. Sponsored by Coca-Cola and WBLS at Radio City Music Hall. They won stereo equipment and a record deal and a single named Reality. The single Reality didn't really chart much, it didn't really do too much, but after that single, the manager Charles Stetler brought the group to Curtis Blow, and the rest is history, and we know who the Disco 3 became, the Fat Boys.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember around this time, not even around this time, a little bit later, man, I remember being maybe 9 or 10 years old in a house, and my mom called us in the house because she said, "Hey, y'all come see these Fat Boys on Soul Train." And that, and that's one of the moments, man, I could say that introduced. I have 3 moments in my life introduced me to hip hop, and that was one of them. When I saw the Fat Boys, maybe it was 1984, seeing them getting down on Soul Train. I got May 16th, 1990. Ice Cube releases the self-titled debut, America's Most Wanted, on Priority.
Right.
Definitely classic, a platinum selling classic. And I tell everybody every time, man, Ice Cube meant a lot to me when I got started. At that time, I was 17 years old, but when I heard a verse on the grand finale on DOC's debut album,
oh man,
that's what made me start rapping. Yeah, picture a nigga that's raw, amplify his ass, and what you see is what's up. That's what made me start rapping right there, bro.
Damn, that verse right there.
Yeah.
That verse right there made you start rapping.
That's what made me get into it right there. Yeah.
17, huh?
17, 1990.
That's what's up.
Yeah. All
That's
right.
live.
I got May 26, 1993. Jive Records releases the soundtrack to Menace to Society. Classic film. The Hughes Brothers films, gritty drama, depicted life on the street of South Central LA. Artists on the soundtrack included Boogie Down Productions, Brand Nubian, Lynch Mob, Too Short, Pete Rock and CL, Spice One, MC8, and of course, UGK. The remix, The Pocket Full of Stone.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, bro. So, this history thing is real big. I start every show doing something like that just because we don't forget. Because, if we don't talk about our own stories, the narratives could change. And before long, they could be calling somebody from somewhere else the greatest of all time. He started this, he started that. So as a curator, that's what I do. I start conversations on interesting topics. That's what's up.
That's a beautiful thing, man. That's a great way to start your show.
Thank you, man. I don't think I see anybody else doing nothing like that. I come at it from a perspective as, we grown men. We could talk about history. We ain't always got to be hee-hawing and laughing and ha, this, and that. We can get serious and talk about about the real, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
All right. For those who don't know, this is Big Mitch right here, Big Mitch Queen. And right now, Mitch, man, let's talk about yourself, bro. Who is Mitch Queen?
Well, very simple. I was born 1973, February 11th, to Mitchell and Barbara Queen. My old man, he's from right here in Port Arthur, Texas. My mother, she's from Monroe, Louisiana. Okay. They both went to Southern University where they graduated, and they found each other. And I was not the first. My mom miscarried the first when she was a girl, but I was the second. And I have a brother named Brandon Queen, which he was born in 76. As far as, my accomplishments or whatever, I graduated Lincoln High School, went to Prairie View A&M University, played football for a while. My major was business management. And I got to second semester sophomore at Prairie View, came home to Lamar to do a little more work, and still was a business management major. I was in business management because of, my rap career and trying to make sure that I could help out my homeboys Bun and Pimp. Okay. So I say, well, he really didn't want me to go to college, Pimp, but I went on and I did it anyway. Then, God decided to bless me to be, the father of the Underground Kings.
All right.
The founder, the cat that made up the name. And it's been a great blessing to be, the father of that group, because God could have picked anybody and, he chose me. Right. So I take that honor very seriously. And I also take the music that we do very seriously. And it's all about the music, man. I'm all about my music. Yes, I'm all about the kids, my family. And basically that's the basics.
That's you in a nutshell, huh? All right. What was I know right now, at a certain period of time, Port Arthur, PA, that's a household word in hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, man, I grew up right next door to PA. I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We used to I remember going to PA to catch crabs in the Gulf when I was a kid.
Oh man.
Yeah. So what was PA like growing up? I'm gonna ask you, it's a two-part question. Growing up in the pre-crack era and then after crack got started, how did that change the city? Yes, sir.
Pre-crack era. Basically, this town, man, is refinery town. You have a lot of, well, not a lot of prisons, but quite a few prisons here. Federal prison, private prisons, state prisons, state schools for kids.
Okay.
So a lot of the work is in the refineries, in the complex with these jailhouses. And if you doing one or two of those things, you could probably make a pretty good living. But anything else, around here, you had to have some type of degree to do something, whether you want to teach or, get into other things. My old man was a coach. So, okay. Before all the cracking things came, a lot of the kids were into sports. this is a great sport town, Port Arthur is. You know, we've had state champion football and basketball championships in this city between Lincoln High School and Thomas Jefferson High School.
Okay.
And even Stephen F. Austin. You know, it was 3 high schools at one time.
All right.
So before all the rigmarole with the drugs, you know, it was great for sports. And like I say, making a living here, you know, it's not one of those towns where it's like Houston, where you can just, you know, every day is something going on. You can party every day if that's what you want to do. You know, our parties were always on the weekends, and the club stayed, you know, packed. But as crack started coming in, a lot of things changed. A lot of people changed, you know, being addicted to the drug. And it brought a lot of families down. It brought a lot of our youth down. And you start to see a lot of cats dropping out of school. Either they were addicted to the drug or they were selling the drug. You know, I had partners that was, you know, leaving school at lunchtime, coming back in an hour with a pocket full of money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about high school students.
Right.
They couldn't afford to not to go back to school or to not to stay in school, so they just went on their lunch break, did what they did, came on back to school with a pocket full of money.
Yeah.
You know, so it made a lot of ghetto entrepreneurs. It put a lot of niggas in jail.
Right.
It killed a lot of generations.
Yeah.
And we lost some good people to that drug, man. And to this day, you still see the remnants of that shit, but it's more synthetic drugs now that you see that these people are indulging in on the streets.
Right.
So it's really, you know, you really have to have your mind on straight to make it out here, because it's easy to get caught up in the bullshit that's happening out here in Port Arthur. And it's not just Port Arthur. It's in every ghetto city, you know, around the world.
Right.
We all going through the same problem. So yeah, that crack, you know, that shit fucked up a lot of people. Put some money in some people's pocket, but it did more damage than good.
Right. Right. And you know, man, that's what I like to. I named my show The Genius Generation because I think, you know, me and you were born the same year, as you said, you born in 1973. And, you know,
right.
we came up at the same time, same era. And we seen what the devastation this shit did. And we also seen how a lot of people our age, like you said, came out of it with money, became entrepreneurs, became business-minded, got into music. And I always say the climate of that time created, as weird as it might sound, it created some greatness, because I knew guys 16, 17 years old, man, programming $4,000 drum machines, like right out the box. No training. I've seen dudes doing this shit, and that's why I wanted to pay homage. That's why I called my show The Genius Generation, and I wanted to do that to our generation, bro. And as being the founding father of UGK, what musical, I want to say, influences came from your bloodline that was able to come out through the music later on that you were able to put down on with pen and a pad?
Oh, you're asking about the musical influences I've had?
Yeah, musical influences in your bloodline, in your family, that maybe contributed to you being that creative.
Oh, well, yeah. My whole family, man, Queen family, they were very, very prominent in their high school and church choirs. Our whole family is blessed to be able to sing, act, very, very talented.
Right.
You know, my uncles, my dad, he sung in the group in college. He sang with the Moonglows before they became big.
Okay.
Not very long, but he did. And he sang with different groups around college at times. My auntie, my Aunt Nettie, you know, she sounded like Gladys Knight.
Right.
And wasn't trying to. You
Okay.
know, just able to sing like that. My Aunt Barbara, my grandmother, Rosalie Queen, she was in the church choir. She would tear it up, you know. So yeah, music was definitely in my bloodline, man. Then, you know, before my grandmother, you know, she watched my old man play in the Soul Bowl. And she was 6 months pregnant with me.
Okay.
And at halftime, the band took the field.
Okay.
So when the band took the field and they started playing the music, my Aunt Maribel, she was right next to my mom. My mom like, Mary, this boy kicking to the beat of the music. So she like, why be lying? So, you know, she put her hand on her stomach. She said, he sure is, ain't he? He gonna be a music freak.
Yeah, you were feeling that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's just amazing, man. My mom knew then that my life was gonna be basically, you know, my love was gonna be for music.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know, man, and I tell my kids, all the time when I speak to them about, we came up at a time where everybody wasn't rapping, everybody wasn't trying to rap. So,
That's right.
So those that had a genuine love for it, even though you might not have been that talented in the beginning stages of whether you made it a career or not, you still had a love for it to at least give it a try.
That's right.
So where we come from, whenever you met somebody, like I said, everybody wasn't doing it. So when you met somebody, y'all looked out for each other. You knew somebody had a DJ. He knew somebody had this. And that's how everybody clicked. And that's how I got the premise for writing the script for Playerz From the South. A lot of those stories getting told like that. So
that's exactly how things happen.
Yeah. So what was, describe what the musical landscape of, I want to say, on the Gulf Coast at that time when you was coming up. What was it like in the late 80s, early 90s and beyond? What was the musical landscape like on the Gulf Coast? Can you paint that picture for me?
late 80s, man, it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't cool to be no MC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even our peers that was around Chad and I, man, you know, they was like, man, that music shit ain't gonna make no money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we had a drive and a determination that most people didn't have. Our music teacher, Miss Marjorie Cole at Lincoln High School, she had the utmost confidence and respect for what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And she always told us, don't you listen to what those motherfuckers are saying to you. If that's what you want to do in life, then you pursue it and you do it to the best of your abilities.
Right.
Because she knew how good we were at the choir competitions and things that we were doing in the city and for, you know, the choir.
Yeah.
So she encouraged us to continue to do what we were doing, you know, and we just kept going, man, but people were always against us. Uh-huh. And you had, you know, other groups out here, quite a few individuals. I don't want to name names because I know I'm missing people, but we had quite a few groups out here that loved to do music just like we did.
Yeah. And
they loved it just like we did. It was always like friendly competition between us. I'd have to say it was probably like, and especially in the late 80s, it was probably about 5, 6 crews out here, different crews.
Yeah.
And everybody knew each other.
Yeah.
So, you know, we tried to me and our sources together to make things happen, you know, even though our own peers were against us.
Right.
And then you had, you know, parents also saying some of the same shit. Some of their parents was like, man, that ain't gonna, I'm not gonna make no money with that shit.
Yeah.
And the reason they would say that is because they saw what happened to all the greats.
Mm-hmm.
That they knew that was a whole lot better than us, and they got fucked.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to see that happen to the next generation, so they tried to steer us in a better direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so some of us, we took that advice from our parents and we ran with it. You know, some of us stuck with it, and as far as the atmosphere is concerned, it was very competitive. Yeah. But like I said, it was definitely friendly competition. It wasn't no dissing each other or, you know, no backstabbing back then, because it wasn't about clout or about money for us at the time. It was just the love for what we were doing. We saw Run DMC, LL, and just a host of other groups out there that was doing that shit, and we loved what they were doing.
Right.
And we was like, well, shit, we can do that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what we did, man. We defied the odds. We didn't listen to the naysayers. You know, we did what we felt was the right thing to do and what was right on our hearts. And the hell with what anybody else said. We was gonna do what we wanted to do as far as that music shit is concerned.
Right. Now, what do you have maybe 2 or 3 moments, like I mentioned earlier, the Fat Boys? For me, it was when I saw the Fat Boys on Soul Train. I think that was 84. When I heard Planet Rock, that was like 81, 82. We was that young at the skating rink hearing that, and we knew that shit the shit just sounded different, but it resonated with a few of us. And that's how I knew. I'm like that, and I had the Fat Boys, and I think it was maybe 87 when I saw Eric B and Rakim on Soul Train. That brought, especially to the South, that brought image of you see what a hustler and a rapper look like. You know, you saw it, and I think we gravitated.
That's right.
That. So, what were your 3?
Absolutely.
What were your 3 moments?
Well, I know first and foremost, the cat that caught my eye from the very beginning, and when I was in junior high school, was James Torrey Smith. That's LL.
Yeah.
Uncle L, you know. That's who I tried to pattern myself after.
Yeah.
He was the one that made me say, okay, I don't care what nobody, I'm gonna do this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I had the Kango, the chain, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? I had it all down to a T. That's what I wanted to be. That's the image I wanted to portray. And to this day, I have an extensive Kango collection.
I feel you.
I'm thinking about writing Kango myself and seeing if for some reason they would like me to model, you know, they old Bermuda casuals like LL and them, you know, used to.
Yeah.
I did that. Let the rest of them do it now. You know, him and Shan, you know, they was the main. The kangaroo in the front, you know. But that was definitely the cat that I patterned myself after. Of course, Run DMC, you know, the Kings of Rock, you know, you couldn't get no harder than them at the time. Yeah. So you wanted to be as cool as Run. You know what I'm saying? And you know, to be perfectly honest, that's who made Chad want to rap. That was Run. You know what I'm saying? So just the forefathers of this, man, I loved them all basically. I didn't dislike hardly nobody, you know, back in that era. Like the Beastie Boys, I loved them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because them and Rick Rubin brought a different sound to, you know, hip hop, you know, with that hard rock feel and in those hard ass beats, and it gave it a whole different sound. That's what made Run DMC they were.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of that crew like Houdini. Man, the one thing that those cats had in common was none of them sounded the same.
Right. Exactly.
They was coming from New York, different boroughs, different sounds. And that was what it was all about. You had to bring something different to the table in order to be heard then. That's just how it was then, you know. And then, you know, the record company started seeing, well, this shit sells over here, this shit sells over here. Well, then they tried to get groups that was exactly like those groups. Yeah. Now, nobody is original no more. And that came from the goddamn record company to make money off these young kids that didn't know no better. Right. You know, the younger kids that was coming after them, to being some people that they wasn't. Yeah. And then, you know, they taking the swag of all the OGs, you know, after a while, the OGs didn't like that shit. They started speaking up about it. Exactly. You know, originality is a must when I bust.
Yeah. And, you know, and with that being said, leading up to the formation of the underground kings as the world came to know it, leading up to that point as a collective, I think I read about Mission Impossible. How did Mission Impossible and whatever groups you were in, how did that get dwindled down to the point where it became Pimp and Bun?
Mission Impossible was Pimp. The reason why I named the group Mission Impossible was because Schooner, aka Boomtown, used to be me and Pimp used to be in the group with him called along with my homeboy Harlot Taville. His name was MCT. Okay. And we had his last name is Arsenal. I can't remember, for some reason right now I can't remember his first name, but we called him Colonel Rock. He was our DJ. So one summer, Chad and I, we was all supposed to get at the last minute. Boom decided he wanted to go to California, him and Harley, and they just left me and Pimp hanging. Right. So, you know, we like, man, what the fuck y'all going to California for? Y'all ain't tell us y'all gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? So they were like, man, we going. I said, okay, well, look. What we gonna do? You know, we a group. What's up? Yeah. You know, so he was like, man, y'all ain't gonna be able to do shit without us. That's what Boom and Harley told me and Pimp. So he like, oh, yeah, so okay. All right. So they went off to college. I mean, they went off to Cali and stayed the whole goddamn summer. Me and Pimp put in work all summer. We ended up doing damn near 30 songs. A whole 60-minute tape front and back. And right then and there, when they told us we couldn't do it, Chad and I made another group called Mission Impossible. Because they were saying we couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it, that's dope. Yeah.
So that's how Mission Impossible came about.
Okay. Yeah. What age were you when you met Chad?
Junior high school.
Damn.
My what was that? 8th grade year. His 7th grade year.
Okay.
I was having 2-a-day practices at Woodrow Wilson. Okay. And wasn't supposed to be, because it was illegal. But after practice one day, we heard the band playing. So I say, well, y'all, practice over. I'm gonna go over here by the band, see what females I can see. So I'm walking over there, man, and I'm an MC already. So I'm walking, and I see a cat with a red Kango on.
Yeah.
And it's not, the Kango that he had, the kangaroo was on the side.
Yeah.
So I'm walking, as I get closer, I'm looking at him, and I walk up to him. I say, hey, man, what's your name? He told me that MCC. What's your name? I say, my name MQJ.
Yeah.
I say, you rap, huh? You say, yeah, how you know? I say, because you got a Kango on, nigga. I say, nobody else gonna wear Kangos but MCs, especially at that time.
Yeah.
And then, you couldn't just find no goddamn Kangos nowhere in Port Arthur. They didn't sell that shit here.
Yeah.
The closest place we could go was to Beaumont at a place called House of Adams. And I see he had his Kango on, man. A nigga had some prescribed Gucci glasses on.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at all this. I'm like, yeah, this nigga is really playing the motherfucking part.
Yeah.
So I'm walking with him, to the band hall and shit, And he say, man, I got a song I just did 2 days ago. I said, oh, yeah? Said, let me check it out. So we get in the band hall and everything, and he put the cassette in the tape deck and started playing this song called I'm Fresh. This was Chad's very first rap song. His very first song. If I'm not mistaken, I probably still got that goddamn song somewhere in my archive. But that was my introduction to Chad Lamar Butler. Come to find out, my dad and his mom were classmates. And they knew each other.
Okay.
So, once I found out he did music, I started asking my old man to bring me to his house.
Right.
And he brought me, and then when my old man saw who she was, he was like, oh, Wes? He's like, Mitch? And they hug each other, and I'm like, damn, me and Pimp looking at each other like, damn, they know each other.
Know each other, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it just, everything just came together, man, like butt cheeks, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't something that we tried to do. It was effortless. When we got together and we did music, man, everything gelled. We never clashed or anything like that, man. Everything was just gelling the way it was supposed to go, and that was my introduction to Mr. Butler.
Got you. Now, when did your introduction to Bun come about?
I didn't meet Bun to high school.
Okay.
I was going to Lincoln High School, and Lincoln High School had a program, an advanced program called Summit Program.
All right.
Summit Program was kids that over excelled in, their subjects in school. Now, I went to Lincoln, but Bun went to Thomas Jefferson, TJ, across town. So the Summit Program was only at Lincoln High School. So the second half of the day, Bun would come to Lincoln for the Summit Program.
Okay.
And, at that time, he was an MC too in another group. And, he found out that I knew Pimp and everything. And, I introduced him.
Okay.
And you know, we just all jail because, like I say, he was in the group, and you know, like during recess, me and him would duck into a restroom every now and then, and we would trade tapes.
Right.
And he give me something, I give him something. I listen to what he got. He listen to what I got, and then the next period, you know, we give him back. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I got introduced to the music that he was doing with his crew,
Okay.
and that's how he got introduced to the music that I was doing with Chad.
Okay.
So at that time, we just stayed in touch with each other, and eventually, you know, we ended up making a whole crew called DMI, which stood for Dangerous Music Incorporated, and that I came up with that name also. Now I didn't know at the time that Todd Shaw had his shit was called Dangerous Music.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when we found out that it was he was Dangerous Music, DMD was all with DJ for all the crews that was in DMI. So he decided to call it Deaf Music Incorporated.
Okay.
So we ran with it, you know, and when he turned it to Deaf Music Incorporated, it didn't last much longer. But you know, that was my introduction to Bun, man. Bun has always been an inspiration to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's always been one of those cats that was solid one way or the other, you know what I mean? And we just stayed in touch with each other, and the rest is history.
Yeah. One hell of a lyricist. One hell of a lyricist.
Man, he is probably, you know, if you ask him, he'll, I guess on a good day, he'll say he's the best.
Yeah.
You know, Pimp used to always say, nigga, I got $100,000. Any of you fuck boys want to try to rap against Bun? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody to this day has taken the goddamn challenge.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that is Bun knows some cold motherfucking lyricists out there that's just as cold as he is. Yeah. But see, Bun is a headhunter. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to size a motherfucker up when you see him and listen to him talk and find out what their weaknesses is.
Right.
See, a lot of motherfucking cats can't do that, you know? Right. And that's why he does a lot of studying of a lot of MCs. So if it ever came down to it, you know, a battle or something like that, he know they weak. Yeah. And he'll eat your ass up.
Eat you up, huh? Yeah, yeah.
And I just want to say this right quick. And then, you know, the nigga, he don't, every time he freestyle. It wasn't no goddamn rap. You know how some East Coast cats will talk about a freestyle, you know, they just talking about anything. That's what they call it. So it's a rap about anything. You know, it could go to any situation, you know what I'm saying, or any MC, and then because they not coming off the top of their head.
Right.
See, to us, freestyling is off the top of your head.
Off the dome, yeah.
Yeah, coming off, you shit, and you ain't nothing written down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just making that shit, you know, make sense. And you doing it off the top of your head.
Yeah.
And Bun is a motherfucking genius at that.
Yeah.
He has mastered that.
I can see that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What, I mean, throughout the years, of course, hip-hop could mean different things to different people throughout the years. But personally, what does Southern hip-hop, what does that mean to you? And so give me some of the greatest attributes of what you think Southern hip-hop is.
It is not what some people tend to think it is. We have our own culture down here.
Mm-hmm.
Hip-hop is culture. So when you go to different places, you should have different experiences.
Yeah. So
Southern hip-hop is no different. I mean, I live here in Port Arthur, Texas, so all the Southern hip-hop that's good, I'ma hear it, and I'ma gravitate to it.
Right.
You know, the slab culture, you know, sipping, smoking, you know, everything that go along, you know, with having a good time. And I mean, our culture is just a tad bit different from, you know, you would say East Coast or West Coast or even Midwest. You know, our culture is totally different. We stick out like a sore thumb because of people like DJ Screw, you know, and the Screwed Up Clique, and, you know, UGK, you know, Ball and G, you know, Outkast. I mean, you know, Good and Mob, you know, just a bunch of people, man, that represent the South. Our culture is definitely different. And that's why a lot of East Coast cats, you know, and West Coast cats, they love to come down south because we ain't finna hate on nobody. We're gonna welcome y'all with open arms. It's Southern hospitality. You're gonna get that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get taken care of when you come down here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, to me, it represents a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
You know, because everything else is so goddamn redundant now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So our culture, Southern hip hop culture, man, is like I say, is different. It's a breath of fresh air, and I truly love it. Even though, you know, now, as you look at it to present day, you know, because everything is oversaturated, everything is beginning to sound the same.
Yeah.
Even the East Coast and the West Coast people want to sound like down South cats. You know, they not even being the original cats that they were. You know, how can you be on the East Coast and want to sound like somebody down here just to sell some motherfucking records?
Records, yeah.
Once again, there's no originality in there. You're only going to get so goddamn far. You know, the East Coast cats that stay true to their shit and what they do and how they get down, I love them.
Yeah.
You know, you talking about people like Nas and you know, Big and all them type of cats, man. Those cats stay true. You know, the Wu-Tang, you know, Meth and Redman, and you know, them cats stay true to their sound and they actual East Coast, New York culture.
Yeah.
You know, so they deserve the accolades that they get.
Right.
But the ones that's on their side and trying to do what we do, I mean, come on, man. That's the redundant shit it really pisses me off.
Yeah.
But, you know, like my brother Chad said, you know, just like everything else, you're gonna have a yin and a yang. You're gonna have good and bad. Good dope, you're gonna have bad dope. You know, and it all coincides. You know what I mean? We need it all because everything has to have a balance.
Right.
Everything has to have a balance.
Now, what do you consider? Because you hear this term, you probably hear this term or see this term a lot. You know, I read the blogs and you read the comments, and people say this quote unquote real hip hop, and the South ain't real hip hop.
Right.
But the South maintains its integrity through the subculture of each region, like you talk about, the Memphis, the Houston, the Atlanta, New Orleans.
Right.
We represent whatever region and that subculture comes from, and we put the shit out. The world decide they're ready for it. At a certain point in time in the 90s, the world was ready to come buy into what was going on down here. So how can somebody sit up and say that ain't real hip hop? You can't judge everything we do. You can't base everything on a New York standard anymore, because we learned from them. We were able to take that and develop it with our own subculture from the South.
Right.
What do you?
I mean, you
consider?
know.
Go ahead.
I mean, them saying it's not real hip hop is them being bitter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, how can you say it's not real hip hop when it's a certain culture
Yeah.
Now you may not say, okay, that's hip hop music that down south cats are making.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is my brother said country rap tune.
Yeah.
I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's because they wanted to single themselves out. We was always just trying to, like old boy said, can't we all just fucking get along with each other?
Along. Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
when I can go out there and motherfucking get it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we did. Them motherfuckers didn't help us do shit.
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast, none of them cats helped us do shit, man. We learned from them, and then we came up with our own goddamn culture and our own sound. So how in the fuck can you say it's not hip hop? It's a certain fucking culture. It's a part of the culture. It's just a sub-genre of the culture.
Yeah.
So the ones that saying that shit ain't hip hop, they just bitter, man. They pissed off because they ain't on top no more.
Ain't on top, yeah. And
they not forerunners no more.
I like to say too, a lot of that bitterness comes from the fact that the South started. We didn't have corporate offices to write the checks. We didn't have the label offices down here at the time in the 90s. Most of when you say you had to get it out the mud, a lot of the finances came from the street. So you didn't have the oversight of A&R telling you what you can say, what you can this. So in the South, it was like, shit, talk that street shit. We don't have nobody to tell us, write this shit, this song, we're going to write the street shit.
Right.
And the South was able to sidestep that infrastructure, that corporate level. And I think that's what a lot of people are bitter from, because we didn't need to stay within that infrastructure and go by these standards that were up here. We set our own standards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And setting your own standards is the thing to do.
Yeah.
Make your own avenue.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what it's all about, man. Like I say, originality has to be somewhere in your repertoire.
Yeah.
If you're going to be some type of entity in this game.
Right.
You got to have some type of originality. It's too easy to copy what somebody else is doing.
Yeah, too easy. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucking cop out to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck would you want to go do if you abroad and you just as fine as Megan? You know what I mean? And you abroad and you trying to get in the shit. You want to do the exact same shit she doing?
Exact same thing. Yeah.
Get out that bitch lane.
Yeah.
Find you another lane. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying, man. I mean, everybody want to do the same shit. Everybody want to be on the radio, and just being on the radio don't get you paid these days either. And that fame shit, that's for the goddamn birds. We see what fame do to people.
Yeah.
We see what fame do to people all the goddamn time. So why make the same motherfucking mistakes when people showing y'all what not to fucking do in the first place?
What not to do in the first place, yeah.
I'll start talking all day. Go on, bro.
Yeah, bro. Hey, now, man, I'm going through this thing. Let me tell you, like I just said, I've been in Atlanta for 30 years. And in the 90s, Atlanta didn't have that thriving independent scene. Where that just put out regional music, like down on the Gulf Coast. So up here, we listened to, at that time, a lot of national release. We had the national. I had a lot of East Coast. I listened to a lot of East Coast national releases. So I didn't know what was going on down there on the third coast. So, and I think, man, once I got to the point where I think it was like 96, where I started realizing when I seen Master P on Rap City, and it got my attention because even though I was listening to a lot of East Coast stuff at the time, when I saw that video, Ice Cream Man, I was like, oh shit, I knew exactly where he was at. And on the video, I went to high school in New Orleans. I related to it so immediately. That shit grabbed me, and I started paying attention to what was going on in the South at that time. So now I'm listening to a lot of shit that I missed out on, and the most undeniable, you can say what you want about the South, whether you say lacking lyrically or whatever, but you can't fucking deny the music. We got that shit.
Nah, it's undeniable, man.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
I guess it's because of the music we grew up on, you know, our communities that we grew up in, you know, that brings that type of sound about of us. It's definitely where we from.
Yeah.
That brings that type of vibe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can go to Cozumel, you know what I'm saying, and stay there for 2-3 months and do an album. You know, eventually you're gonna catch they type of vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though you come from a place like Port Arthur, Texas.
Right.
You know, and you can't help but bring who you are wherever you go.
Yeah.
So if you're a Southerner, you're gonna bring that same energy to Cozumel.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a different atmosphere, makes you feel different. It gives you different vibes, but you still gonna have that Southern hip hop vibe. You can't run from it because that's who we are and that's what we grew up in.
Now, as the founding father of the UGK movement, what would you say would be your proudest moment of that legacy, that UGK legacy? Your proudest moment of UGK's legacy, that catalog, any kind of experiences, accolades. What would be your proudest moment?
Man, it's quite a few of them, man. I'd have to say the one would be what was that? They got something for International Players Ball. That was a great accomplishment. Being nominated for Grammy.
Grammy, yeah.
That was very, very major, you know, for me. The first EP coming out Southern Way, February 11th, 1992. That was a crowning moment. The first thing, and I'd have to say our induction into the Gulf Coast Museum. You know, I think that was probably the highest moment right there for me, being inducted into, you know, the Gulf Coast Museum out here in Port Arthur, man. You know, that was very, very big, you know, for us, you know, great people that's from this area, Southeast Texas, that a lot of people don't know that were very big. You know, one of our biggest stars out here is Janis Joplin. You know, she's in there, and she got, you know, the Porsche that she drove, the psychedelic Porsche that she drove when she was here in Port Arthur. That's in the museum.
Okay.
You know, you got people like I forget his name, but the cat that played on Police Academy, what do you call it? Yao Mauser, Captain Mauser, that cat.
I'm trying to think of which one.
He's from Port Arthur, you know.
Okay.
Then you have Jimmy Johnson. He's in there, you know.
Football coach. Jimmy Johnson.
You know, so being in that in the company of those cats and other, you know, big name cats, man, it's a blessing, bro. It's a blessing, and I'd have to say that was my biggest moment, you know, as being the father of UGK.
Yeah.
You know, and that was actually the last time that me and Miss Monroe ever rode a car together. When she came and picked me up because I lived.
All right. And you say Mama West came to pick you up?
Yeah, she came to pick me up for that event, you know, from my pad, because I live like I say 4 blocks around the corner from that museum.
Okay. Now, Like, man, what I'm telling people right now, like I just said, start discovering a lot of stuff I hadn't heard before. And you know how
Mhm.
you used to watch the Cosby Show and you see Dr. Huxtable sit back, kick his shoes off and listening to some jazz. I'm listening to rap like
Right.
that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
over the last 2 years, man, I put UGK on like maybe 2 years ago, and I ain't stopped since. I can't even go back to listening to East Coast. I tried to listen to East Coast hip hop. I'm so stuck on the music that was going on and the whole evolution of the group, and you see the growth and I mean the shit is so. I told somebody last week, man. Listen, I forgot what song it was. Trill Niggas Don't Die. And I think that gotta be like one of my favorites right there. That's like that shit sound like some Earth, Wind, and Fire, bro. And I got that. Trill Niggas Don't Die. I got Cocaine in the Back of the Ride.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites of all UGK of all time. I can't think of the other ones right now, but they'll come to me. Let's talk about some of your favorites.
Woo. Man, you know, that's a funny question because
Yeah.
I was there for a lot of the music that they put together, a lot of the pre-production.
Mm.
I guess I can go from album to album or whatever to tell you what my favorite cuts is. If you talking about the Southern way, my favorite cut is definitely gonna be "Tell Me Something Good."
Yeah.
Because that was the song that made us.
Right.
And when that song came out in '92, man, we had the hip hop countdown down here, and we stayed on top. They had to retire our shit. We stayed on top, I think, for maybe 2 months in a row, number one.
Damn.
And they had, because wasn't nothing fucking with it. So then,
Now that's the
now,
song they got the record deal off of, right? Forgot to
right,
sign with.
right,
Okay.
right. And then if you go into band, it ain't but three songs on there. So my favorite song would be "Pregnant Pussy" for that one.
Okay.
They got a lot of slack for that song, and the motherfucker ain't mine at Jive. That's why that EP was called Band, because the women at Jive was appalled at the lyrics in those songs.
Yeah, I never
So
heard
they,
of that. Yeah.
and those influences came from Gangsta Nip,
Okay.
because we listened to a lot of Gangsta Nip
Gangsta Nip.
down here. We was on rap a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking some different shit that we had never heard before, so we listened to that shit.
Yeah.
So that's where the inspirations for those songs came from. And if you recognize, they never did no songs like that no.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So you go to the first album, which is Too Hard to Swallow. My favorite song on there is gonna be "I Feel Like I'm the One That's Doing Dope," because it's one of those songs where Chad, tells a story, and he's a great storyteller when he wants to be.
Yeah.
And he wrote that song on the way to Dallas, to go to Dallas Sound Labs to drop the song.
Okay.
Verses. Let's see, Super Tight. That's my favorite album.
Super Tight, your favorite album?
It would be very hard for me to say my favorite song, but if I had to pick one, it would be 316.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Yeah.
And I Left It Wet is close too.
Mm-hmm.
So those two on Super Tight, that's two of my favorites on there. Well, Riding Dirty, of course, I'm gonna be a little biased because that's the Morning is gonna be my favorite song off of that album. In actuality, it was Bun and Chad's favorite song also. If I'm not, I know that was one of his favorite songs too, because I did that song too on February 10th of 94. No, was it 94? No, 96. 96, because Riding Dirty came out in 96.
96.
So I did that the day before my birthday, February 10th, 1996.
Okay.
3 in the morning. And Bun played the song for me in the studio, and they told me how they kind of wanted it to go, and I just went and I wrote it, and that day. So 3 in the morning, yeah, that's that one, and probably the title track, Riding Dirty.
Riding Dirty, yeah.
Because he did that song in New York, and they was out there mastering the album, and he was missing home, so he needed another song, and he did that, and that's one of the reasons why I like that, because he was missing home, and he did the last song, which was Riding Dirty for the album.
Okay.
When you go to let's see, Side Hustles would be my favorite on there would be All About It and Belts to Match.
Belts to be, yeah.
That would be my 2 favorites on there. When you get to Dirty Money, Chopping Blades,
yeah,
and Look at Me. Those are my 2 favorites on there.
Yeah.
When you get to the double album, the remix to Like That.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, mine too. There was a lot on that double album, man.
Yeah, man. When will it? How long will it last?
Yeah.
The first song on the second side, on the second CD rather, and of course, the last song. What's the name of that damn song? Living This Life.
Living This Life.
That's the one right there. I don't want to do this no more, but it's the only thing that I know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like him saying, man, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of being fucked over. I'm tired of this shit, man, and I don't want to do it no more.
Yeah.
It's one of the realest lines he ever said. So simple, but it came straight from what he was feeling.
Right.
Then you got UGK for Life, Feeling You. I'll tell you a little story behind that. Me and Chad did that because me and his favorite groups is Frankie Beverly and Maze.
Right.
So he came to me with a beat that his homeboy Steve Belo did that beat, and he say, Mitch, man, listen to this. And I say, man, I like that shit. He say, yeah, let's go do that. So we went to a little studio we had out here in PA, and we did that song. That song was actually supposed to be for his solo album for Pimpalation.
Pimpalation, okay.
But it ended up not making the cut, and Bun took it, and he took my verse off of that, and he put on another verse.
Okay.
But that's my favorite song on that album, on the UGK for Life album. And I think that's all the album. UGK for Life was the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's our favorite cuts.
Yeah. What do you think made Chad a great overall musician? Cause he do some incredible shit, man. I'm in awe of some of the. I tell you what, I deconstruct when I'm listening to the music. I'm able to pick out one or two elements, and you can see it was based off of that. For instance, what's the song? I forgot which one it is right now. You just mentioned the remix to Like That. I say if I had one.
You talking about the precision of his production?
The precision of his production. Yeah. You were able to witness that firsthand.
Right.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just say, give me some moments that you witnessed him do some great shit as far as his production, and where you think the inspiration comes from for crafting that sound. Was it
a lot of his ideas and a lot of his inspiration just came from the music that we grew up on.
Yeah.
Blues, R&B, soul. You know, a lot of people didn't know that the nigga also liked rock and roll. You know, he was a big Nirvana fan.
Yeah.
You know, he liked Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
You know, he liked the Stone Roses.
Okay.
You know, the Eagles.
Yeah.
You know, when it came to rock and roll, I didn't douse on it too much, but you know, I liked Nirvana was cool. You know, I didn't like the hard rock shit. You know, I could probably do some Van Halen every now and then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, some David Lee Roth. You know what I mean? Some Genesis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I could, you know, Doobie Brothers. You know, Blue Eyed Soul with Hall and Oates. You know, I could do some White Cats. You know, that was really, you know, getting it in. But he dabbled in all of that stuff. Now, it didn't always come out. The rock shit didn't always come out in his music. That was just some shit that he liked, you know, on his own time. And he never really played a lot of rock music around his friends. That was just something that he dug on his own.
Yeah.
You know, but his production precision just came from him wanting to be one of the best producers that the South had ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time he was doing the things that he was doing, nobody else was doing it. You know, when he started sampling, you know, the only other group that even tried to fuck with sampling was the Ghetto Boys.
Uh-huh.
There was no other group in the South that was fucking with sampling in the early 90s, late 80s. Nobody.
Yeah.
We took that, said I always wanted to use old school shit that we liked and take parts of it and rap to the shit.
Yeah.
We were doing that when we were, you know, the Hardy Boys, when we was in the group with Boomtown and Harley. You know, we did sampling then. You know, all we would do, you know, we would loop something through a cassette and just keep it going. And then eventually, once we get it the length we got it, we went back and we put a beat over.
Okay.
So we were doing shit like that way before anybody. But what he found that was very significant for his sound was, of course, the organ. And the organ comes from, you know, a lot of jazz musicians and gospel musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So he incorporated the organ as one of his trademarks.
Right.
The cymbals, because he was in the band and he played trumpet. And the cymbals, he loved cymbals. He loved tricking out cymbals. That's why a lot of times when you hear some of his music, you know, the cymbals would be one of the main things that you would follow because he loves cymbals. Yeah. You know, the cymbals for Tell Me Something Good is still one of the coldest cymbal licks I've ever heard.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now, one thing that he found out that was very clever, that I thought was very clever of him, was he said, well, these goddamn samples are starting to cost too goddamn much money. You know, our budget from Jive already ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? So we got to cut down. We got to find a way to cut down on some of these samples. So what did he do? He got real musicians.
Mm-hmm.
He paid the musicians to play what he wanted them to play.
Yeah.
They would play the song. And then he would go and sample from them the parts that he liked, just like he was listening to a record.
Yeah.
So instead of paying for the sample, he only paid the musicians.
Musicians. Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
Nobody else was doing that. Nobody else, but maybe the likes of Run DMC and Houdini and some of the East Coast cats out there was using real instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Dre, Above the Law, you know, they use live instruments. You know what I'm saying? So Bill was like, well, yeah, they using live instruments to play what they, so well, shit, I'm gonna do the same thing. And he just became very good at what he was doing. He was very precise, man, and it gave sampling a different definition, and he didn't have to pay the original people. All he would have to put on the album was, this is a what they say, a compilation of All Right What's Happening, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interpolation.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, interpolation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of his great achievements as far as production is concerned. He was one of the only ones in the South to actually do that. And he got with, you know, cats like Mike Dean in Houston that could play damn near every goddamn instrument that there was and say, hey man, play this, play that, play this, play that. And shit, that's how the shit came about.
It came together.
But fucking genius, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. This is the Professor on the Genius Generation podcast. And today I'm sitting with the OG, Big Mitch Queen, founding father of UGK. And Mitch,
right,
man, I want to thank you, man, for coming and sitting with me today. We're gonna do a part 2. We gotta do a part 2 soon, real soon. I got some other stuff I wanted to get into with you. And I thank you for being here with me, bro. I've been trying to get, you know, with this situation we got going on, man. I lost out on 2 deals for my podcast, 2 business deals. And that's why I said, man, let me start getting some interviews going and start talking to these bricklayers and people who laid this shit down.
Yeah, one thing about it is, fam, you just keep grinding it out.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to happen is going to happen for you.
Yeah.
I see it. You know, I see it. You know, hard work pays off.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me as if you're focused and you know what you want. So, you know, you just go out there and go get it. Do the best that you can. You know, be a whole hog or none at all.
Yeah.
And go hard, you know what I'm saying? And everything else is gonna take care of itself. Yeah. Always say what you want and don't say what you don't want. Don't say, man, I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want that. And say, no, I want this. I want that.
Yeah.
Concentrate on it. And I guarantee you, at some point in time, it's going to happen for you. That's the only way that I've been able to survive in this shit, man. I don't know if you know, I got 2 albums out right now. Okay. One is called Big Mitch is Still Smoking.
Yeah.
That's my first album. I actually celebrated my 7-year anniversary of that album being out. It actually came out May 20th digitally. And May 5th, I got, you know, my first CD package from CD Baby. And Big Mitch is the Foundation is the one that's out now, the most recent one.
Okay.
I dropped that in on August 13th, 2018. I think, 2018.
Yeah.
So those are the two albums that I got out right now. You know, I hope everybody, you know, go check them out, man, because like I say, being the father of this legendary group, man, when it comes down to doing music, because I've been around my brother Chad, as many years I've been around him, and my brother Bun, one thing that happens, like when I go in studios with people and other artists, and they may have never heard me do anything, when I start doing my thing, they be like, yeah, that nigga is who he say he is. You know, because a lot of people, you know, I could tell somebody, yeah, I'm part of you today. A lot of people ain't gonna believe that shit.
Right.
I still get it now in my own city. They like, man, you really? And then they look at me and they be like, big, oh, okay, now because they didn't seen the documentaries and they didn't seen my face and shit on the documentaries. So they put one and one together and they get two.
Yeah.
You know. So and it baffles a lot of them because they be like, well, damn, I didn't know he was around. He just a regular cat. So yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shit, I ain't, you know, I ain't wealthy, but I ain't broke either. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm still doing my thing, and you know, I got a special crowd, candy paint, drip, 84.